This is the watchword in business. It's a word I've been aware of all my business life because somebody told me about it early. And I've certainly been cautious and careful to make certain that it wasn't hurting me or my business. Let me tell you what the word is, some of the ways it can affect us, and then some of the solutions as well. So the word is exposure. And the idea is we need to think about what are we exposed to in our business that could potentially harm us or hurt the business. One of the things I know we're exposed to as coaches and consultants, speakers, trainers, accountants, people who help people solve problems and capitalize on opportunities, one of the things we're exposed to is a small number of high fee paying clients. So that the majority of our income comes from a small number of people. I have a friend in business who's a consultant, a very good consultant. We were chatting the other day, and he was telling me about one of his clients that had started to slow down on payments. And they paid a bit and didn't pay a bit, and they'd made agreements, but they didn't quite keep to them. And then all of a sudden, the amount of debt has built up, and he's massively exposed to that, particularly if this company goes bump. So we need to be careful whether or not we are exposed to a small number of clients paying us a high amount each. Yes, we want those, but I think that we need to offset that exposure by having a variety of other clients as well. Next thing, we can be exposed to methods, methods and ways of doing things. For example, we might have a method of attracting new clients, and maybe we use Google AdWords, or we use webinars, or we use content marketing, or we use social media, whatever it might be. But we tend to focus and stick on one particular one, which gives us an exposure. So again, my suggestion is obviously to think about, can we spread that risk, spread that exposure, and start to test in different ways? We may have a main source, but test in different ways of attracting clients. And the third one for today is people. The various people in our lives and our businesses where we have an exposure. For example, we have an exposure to people in our business. We have an exposure if we have associates who deliver our material. We have an exposure on suppliers of various things that are brought to us. For example, I have books, as you know, and one of my exposures is to printers. People actually print the books. And I've had some of my collector's edition of my book Paid turn up, and they were all damaged. And when we sent them back and they were sent again, they came damaged. Why? Because we were exposed to that particular supplier, and they were exposed to the way that their books, their products and services were being packed. So we can have exposure in all of these three key areas: to clients, to methods, and to people. How do we get around this? Well, the biggest exposure that we have, I feel, is on the financial side. And therefore, we need to be considering whether or not we want to be exposed to clients, small number, high amounts each, or whether or not we can spread that risk, because the challenge with a small number of clients is there's a different exposure, and the exposure is their exposure to us. So if there's any reason that we can't deliver what it is that we normally deliver for them, whether it's coaching, consulting, whatever it might be, then they're not likely to keep on paying if we're not delivering. So one of the things I've done for many, many years, and I'd urge you to consider this if it works in your business, is to have either a subscription or a membership program. Now, the subscription program could be either a continuity program where you've taken a lot of your material and you've created, let's say, a multimedia product that's available online, and people can subscribe to that for the period that it's delivered over. Let's say I created one years ago called the Accelerated Business Growth System, which was 36 modules delivered monthly. So it was a 3-year program. So it became, in effect, a subscription program. But you could have a subscription program that was webinar based, for example. Or you might have a membership program, which could be webinar, but it could be face-to-face, it could be a one-to-few, or it could be a one-to-many. And often when it is one-to-many, the income per client, per member, goes down compared to the direct client, but the exposure is minimized because we've spread the risk around a lot of people. So you've got the idea of this for today. So the watchword in business for me is exposure, being exposed to clients, methods, and people. There's a lot more as well. Being exposed to ourselves and considering whether or not in our fee and money generation activities, we consider maybe having a subscription or a membership program. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this particular one. I certainly have. If you want to more of these, they're all about here. Said stumbling that. If you want to watch more of these, they're around here on YouTube. So please enjoy those. And in the meantime, I wish you every success in all your adventures in life. From me, Peter Thomson. Until the next time. Goodbye for now.